Is America secretly supporting Israel's attack on Gaza? Well, if reports are to go by, Biden wants to keep the US's arms deal with Israel private, while pretending the White House cares about Palestinian lives in Gaza in public. Reports say the US has quietly approved and delivered more than 100 weapon sales to Israel since the start of the war in Gaza. These weapons include precision-guided munitions, small diameter bombs, bunker busters, small arms, and other lethal aid. I'm talking about bombs. I'm talking about a massive transfer of firepower from America to Israel. Firepower that Israel uses to unleash hell on earth in Gaza. It blows the lid off the lies that Americans are selling to the world. This triple-digit figure, which has not been previously reported, is the latest indication of America's extensive involvement in the 5-month war. US officials and lawmakers may be talking tough on Israel, but it continues to aid its war effort in Gaza. As I mentioned, this figure was not previously known. US officials recently informed members of Congress about this in a classified briefing. Now, you may be wondering, how does foreign aid like this go unnoticed by the US legislative branch? It's because of a loophole in the system. You see, the Biden administration is not required to disclose the sales that are below a set dollar amount. In this case, the foreign military sale, also known as FMS, was processed without any public debate, only because each fell under a specific dollar amount. Simply put, the president's office didn't need an approval from Congress because each transaction was under the dollar amount, and this is why the arms transfer escaped congressional oversight. You see, the U.S. Arms Export Control Act makes some significant exceptions for arms sales to America's close allies. This is a limit. There is a limit of $25 million for major defense equipment, which are seen as big-ticket items. But the limit for other defense articles, like bombs, is $100 million. This means that the president's office could approve and deliver weapons to Israel without needing an approval from Congress. It means that the Biden administration took advantage of a loophole in the system to keep the arms sales to Israel under wraps. Is it wrong? Technically, no. The US law authorizes the president to do that. Biden is doing what his predecessor, Donald Trump, did. Between 2017 and 2019, the Trump administration made more than 4,000 such below-threshold arm transfers to Saudi Arabia and the UAE. But is this problematic? Absolutely. It is an extremely problematic way to avoid accountability. You see, this isn't about law, it's about moral duty. Here is a country that has been accused of genocide in Gaza. We have just told you how children in Gaza are dying of hunger. It's all because of Israel's war on unarmed civilians in Gaza. Since the war broke out, only 2 approved foreign military sales to Israel have been made public by the Biden administration. One was a $106 million sale of tank ammunition, and the other was a $147.5 million sale of components needed to make 155mm shells. When they were made public, the arms sale had invited public scrutiny because the Biden administration had bypassed Congress to approve the sales under emergency authority. Altogether, that's a lot of weapons being sent to Israel over a very short span of time. It really suggests that the Israeli war effort would not be sustainable without this level of American support. The U.S. State Department says that officials have engaged Congress on arms transfers more than 200 times since the war broke out. Which brings me back to my original point. Just because something is not technically wrong doesn't mean that it is the right thing to do. If American weapons are directly being used to inflict harm on innocent, unarmed civilians, isn't it America's duty to stop it? What measures is the Biden administration taking to ensure that Israel is not using American help to harm civilians? I ask this because on one hand, Biden talks about peace, about safeguarding Palestinian lives. On the other hand, the Biden administration is flooding arms into Israel. The lack of publicly available information about US arms sales to Israel leaves a lot of room for speculation and questioning. Israel won't reveal any details about its weapons usage or shortfall, if any. But reports say that in the first week of the war, Israel had already dropped 6,000 bombs on Gaza. What is at once clear is that the US is deeply involved in Israel's war on Gaza. The US may not be pulling the trigger, but it sure is loading the gun. If the US is serious about a ceasefire, it should stop this right away. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.